Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government completes 8 years today, rededicated to service, good governance and welfare of the poor. All BJP ministers at the centre and states and its elected representatives take part in a massive public outreach campaign to mark the day. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says 8 years of Modi government's foreign policy has people at its centre. Prime Minister assures full support for education of children who lost their parents due to COVID-19, releases benefits under PM Cares for Children scheme. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu embarks on a 3-nation tour to Gabon, Senegal and Qatar. Kariri Gram Panchayat of Karoli district of Rajasthan votes on the issue of closure of liquor shops in the area. 2 terrorists killed in an encounter at Gundipura village of Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir. Goa celebrates its statehood day today. President and Vice President greet people of the state. And in French Open tennis, Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop to play men's doubles quarterfinal this evening. The Narendra Modi-led NDA government completes 8 years today. On this day 3 years ago, Prime Minister Narendra Modi took oath of office for the second time. In these 8 years, the government has taken several steps for the benefit of citizens. Now let us know how the lives of people have become much easier as the government has given special focus on ease of living.
The new India is redefining ease of living in tune with rising aspirations. From 2002 to 2014, metro construction was 20 kilometers per year. From 2014 to 2022, metro construction gone up to 63 kilometers per year. Digital payment has made day-to-day life much easier. Payments apps like Bheem have given benefits under Amrut. 118 lakh households have water tap connections and 97 lakh households have sewer connections or septic coverage. Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana has brought in big relief to people. 3.26 crore people have been treated for free under the scheme. Affordable medicines in more than 8,700 Jan Aushadhi Kendras have given people savings of over 50 to 90%. Pahal scheme has removed leakages and middlemen in LPG connections. There are over 29 crore beneficiaries in the scheme and there has been saving of more than 70,000 crore rupees. With Naseem Naqvi, Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
A resident of Vadodara in Gujarat, Bakula Parmar said after getting a house under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, her life has changed.
मेरा नाम बकुला परमार है। मेरा परिवार गुजरात के बड़ौदा शहर में रहता है। आमदनी इतनी पर्याप्त नहीं होने के कारण हम लोग किराए के मकान में शुरू से रहते थे, लेकिन जब से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने हर परिवार को खुद का मकान उपलब्ध कराने का संकल्प लिया, तब से हमारी किस्मत समझो बदल गई है। प्राइवेट बिल्डर द्वारा निर्मित आवास भवन में फ्लैट खरीद करने वालों को भी प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के 2,77,000 की सब्सिडी देने की योजना मोदी सरकार ने जब से शुरू की, बड़ौदा शहर में खुद बिल्डर घोषणा करने लगे कि उनकी कॉलोनी में फ्लैट खरीदना है तो सब्सिडी का लाभ मिलेगा, क्योंकि ये प्रोजेक्ट प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत अप्रूव्ड है। हमने जो फ्लैट खरीदा वो स्कीम का रेरा में रजिस्ट्रेशन होने की वजह से हम लोगों को पोजीशन भी समय सर मिल गया और बिल्डिंग की क्वालिटी के लिए भी हम निश्चिंत थे। खुद का मकान दिलाने के लिए हम मोदी सरकार के शुक्रगुजार हैं।
All ministers in the BJP government at the centre and states and its elected representatives will take part in a massive public outreach campaign to mark 8 years of the Modi government. Addressing a press conference at the BJP headquarters in New Delhi, Party National General Secretary Arun Singh said the public outreach will be held on the theme of service, good governance and welfare of the poor fortnight across the country, as these have been the priority of the Prime Minister Modi-led government. As part of this campaign, a 75-hour public outreach program will be organized from booths to the national level, in which all union ministers, ministers in the BJP-led state governments and elected representatives will take part and visit villages. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today said this day marks 8 years of Narendra Modi government's foreign policy that has people at its centre. In a series of tweets, Mr. Jaishankar said this is a diplomacy for India's development, security and civilization, and a diplomacy that serves its people. Dr. Jaishankar said there have been sweeping changes in passport delivery, which makes it faster, corruption-free and closer to people's location. He added that the Narendra Modi government has ensured safety and security of Indians abroad through Vande Bharat mission during COVID, Operation Ganga in Ukraine, and many more. Dr. Jaishankar said welfare fund has been expanded for workers and the vulnerable. He said there are greater work opportunities for Indian talent, professionals, workers and students. He stressed that NDA government is supporting Indian investments and exports and creating employment at home. It is supporting citizens as they explore the global workplace. The minister said the foreign policy of the NDA government ensures national security through trusted relationships and international support.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the children who have lost their parents due to COVID-19 will get full support for their schooling and higher education. Releasing the benefits under the PM Cares for Children scheme this morning through video conferencing, Mr. Modi said PM Cares for Children is an initiative to release some of the burden children face after losing their parents.
PM Cares for Children आप सभी ऐसे कोरोना प्रभावित बच्चों की मुश्किलें कम करने का एक छोटा सा प्रयास है जिनके माता और पिता दोनों नहीं रहे। साथियों, पीएम केयर फॉर चिल्ड्रन इस बात का भी प्रतिबिंब है कि हर देशवासी पूरी संवेदनशीलता से आपके साथ है।
The Prime Minister said children between 18 to 23 years of age will get a fixed stipend and on attaining the age of 23 they will get 10 lakh rupees.
पीएम केयर्स के जरिए ऐसे बच्चों की कॉपी, किताबों और यूनिफॉर्म्स के खर्चों को भी उठाया जाएगा। अगर किसी को प्रोफेशनल कोर्स के लिए, हायर एजुकेशन के लिए एजुकेशन लोन चाहिए होगा तो पीएम केयर्स उसमें भी मदद करेगा। रोजमर्रा की दूसरी जरूरतों के लिए अन्य योजनाओं के माध्यम से उनके लिए 4,000 रुपये हर महीने की व्यवस्था भी की गई है।
The Prime Minister said through PM Cares, the government is supporting children by providing 4,000 rupees per month for daily needs. He said through the scheme, children have been provided a Ayushman Health Card that will cover health expenses up to 5 lakh rupees.
एक और बड़ी चिंता स्वास्थ्य से जुड़ी भी बनी रहती है। कभी कोई बीमारी आ गई तो इलाज के लिए पैसे चाहिए होते हैं, लेकिन किसी भी बच्चे को, उनके गार्जियंस को उसके लिए भी परेशान होने की जरूरत नहीं है। पीएम केयर फॉर चिल्ड्रन के माध्यम से आपको आयुष्मान हेल्थ कार्ड भी दिया जा रहा है। इस कार्ड से 5 लाख तक के इलाज की मुफ्त सुविधा भी आप बच्चों को मिलेगी।
The Prime Minister said the PM Cares initiative has been made possible through the contributions of citizens across the country. He said through these contributions, the government has been able to ramp up healthcare infrastructure.
इस फंड ने कोरोना काल के दौरान अस्पताल तैयार करने में, वेंटिलेटर्स खरीदने में, ऑक्सीजन प्लांट लगाने में बहुत मदद की। इस वजह से कितने ही लोगों का जीवन बचाया जा सका, कितने ही परिवारों का भविष्य बचाया जा सका। और जो हमें असमय छोड़ गए, आज ये फंड उनके बच्चों के लिए, आप सबके भविष्य के लिए काम में आ रहा है।
The Prime Minister urged all children to take part in Fit India and Khelo India initiatives. The Prime Minister encouraged all children to make yoga and fitness part of the daily routine. Mr. Modi said government has completed 8 years today and the country is moving forward with the spirit of Atmanirbharta. Speaking on the occasion, Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani said the nation stands with children who have lost both their parents to COVID. She said Narendra Modi government transferring the scholarship for school education on the day of completion of 8 years is a message to the children that the nation and the Prime Minister cares for them. Ms. Irani said 80 crore people received free ration during COVID pandemic.
Union Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy and Union Minister of State for Social Justice and Empowerment Pratima Bhaumik are among those who participated in the launch of PM Cares for Children from districts in Telangana today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi formally launched the program virtually connecting different districts across the country. Speaking after taking part from Hyderabad District Collectorate, Mr. Reddy said the Prime Minister will be the guardian to all those children till they become independent or attain 23 years of age. He said all kinds of assistance in the areas including finance, education and health will be provided to the children who lost their parents or guardians during COVID pandemic. Ms. Pratima Bhaumik, who attended the program from Khammam district headquarters, said the central government has adopted 14 children from the district.
कस्तूरबा गांधी स्कूल में एडमिशन होगा, उसके एडमिशन के लिए कोई कोटे का व्यवस्था नहीं है, कुछ व्यवस्था नहीं है। हमारा डीएम साहब के पास आएगा, डीएम साहब उसका पूरा देखभाल करके, ऐसा जो स्कूल है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का किसी भी स्कूल में उसका भर्ती के लिए कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा और उसका देखभाल करने के लिए सब व्यवस्था रहेगा। कुछ बच्चा हमारे इधर आपका चाइल्ड केयर इंस्टीट्यूशन में भी रह सकते हैं, उसका भी रहने का भरपूर व्यवस्था वहाँ पे किया गया है। मतलब जो बच्चा का माता पिता नहीं है, कोविड में उनका अनाथ हुआ है, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का बोलना है, हम लोगों को आदेश किया जिसको अनाथ नहीं बोलना उसको इसीलिए स्वनाथ करके एक व्यवस्था भी वहाँ पे रखा है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with beneficiaries of about 16 schemes and programs spanning 9 ministries and departments as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations tomorrow. The national-level event, named Garib Kalyan Sammelan, will be held at Shimla, where the Prime Minister will interact with beneficiaries through video conferencing. He will also release the 11th installment of the Kisan Samman Nidhi, amounting to more than 21,000 rupees. To more than 21,000 crore rupees. Talking to AIR News, Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur gave details about tomorrow's program.
हिमाचल के लिए सौभाग्य की बात है कि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी इस राष्ट्रीय स्तर के कार्यक्रम में हिमाचल आ रहे हैं और हिमाचल के भी बहुत ऐतिहासिक स्थान शिमला के मैदान में आ रहे हैं और वहां से पूरे देश को संबोधित करेंगे, इंटरैक्शन करेंगे, जो हमारे बेनिफिशरीज हैं उनके साथ इंटरैक्ट करेंगे वर्चुअल माध्यम से। और उसके साथ साथ में मुझे इस बात की भी खुशी है कि कल किसान सम्मान निधि की भी 11वीं किस्त जारी होगी, लगभग 21,000 करोड़ रुपए की वो किस्त जारी होकर के 80 करोड़ लोगों को उसका लाभ मिलेगा। और सबसे बड़ी बात हो कि हिमाचल जैसे छोटे प्रदेश को इस बड़े इवेंट के लिए, जहां उनका 8 साल का कार्यकाल पूरा हुआ है और 8 साल का कार्यकाल उनका बहुत यशस्वी रहा है, देश का सम्मान पूरे विश्व में ऊंचा हुआ है, अलग पहचान भारत की दुनिया में, तो इस कार्यक्रम का आयोजन यहाँ पर जो किया जा रहा है हम बहुत उत्साहित हैं। हम प्रधानमंत्री जी का अभिनंदन करने के लिए और साथ साथ में हम हिमाचल प्रदेश की जनता की ओर से, देवभूमि की जनता की ओर से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी अभी कई वर्षों तक इसी प्रकार भारत का नेतृत्व करते रहे।
Simultaneously, events will also be organized at state capitals, district headquarters and KVK centers. The Prime Minister will also interact with beneficiaries of 5 districts of Rajasthan in the Garib Kalyan Sammelan tomorrow. These districts include Sri Ganganagar, Rajsamand, Udaipur, Bhilwara and Baran districts.
You will listen to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government completes 8 years today, rededicated to service, good governance and welfare of the poor. All BJP ministers of the centre and the states and its elected representatives take part in a massive public outreach campaign to mark the day. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says 8 years of Modi government's foreign policy has people at its centre. Prime Minister assures of full support for education of children who lost their parents due to COVID-19, releases benefits under PM Cares for Children scheme. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu embarks on a 3-nation tour to Gabon, Senegal and Qatar. Kareri Gram Panchayat of Karoli district of Rajasthan votes on the issue of closure of liquor shops in the area. 2 terrorists killed in an encounter at Gundipora village of Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir. Goa celebrates its statehood day today. President and Vice President greet people of the state. And in French Open tennis, Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop to play men's doubles quarterfinals this evening. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
सिनेमा प्रेमी हो जाओ तैयार, आया है फिल्मों का त्योहार। 29 मई से 4 जून तक लगातार सपनों का शहर लाया आपके लिए उपहार। देखिए मुंबई इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल ऑनलाइन भी ऑफलाइन भी। पंजीकरण कराएं www.miff.in पर।
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। इस बार का विषय है एनवायरमेंट एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज और सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 1 जून। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today embarked on a three-nation tour to Gabon, Senegal and Qatar. He is accompanied by a high-level delegation including Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare Dr. Bharti Pawar and 3 members of Parliament, Sushil Kumar Modi, Vijay Pal Singh Tomar and P. Ravindranath. This is the first ever visit from India at the level of Vice President to all the 3 countries. The Vice President's visit to Gabon and to Senegal will add momentum to India's engagement with Africa and also emphasize its commitment to the African continent. The visit to Qatar, as both sides prepare to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations, will further enhance the bilateral ties. A number of bilateral documents are expected to be concluded during the visit to the 3 countries. In Rajasthan, polling is underway on the issue of closure of liquor shops in Kariri Gram Panchayat area of Karoli district. After polling, if 51% voters cast their votes in favour of closing the shops, then from the next financial year, the liquor shops in jurisdiction of this panchayat will be closed forever. If the villagers vote for closing, it will be the first Gram Panchayat of Karoli district and the 10th liquor-free panchayat of the state. Voting is being held for the first time in the district for prohibition of liquor.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists were killed this morning in an encounter with security forces that broke out last evening at village Gundipora in Pinglena area of South Kashmir's Pulwama district. The joint operation was carried out by 55 Rashtriya Rifles, 182 and 183 Battalion of the Central Reserve Police Force, CRPF, besides Special Operations Group SOG of J&K Police in the area, after the receipt of a specific intelligence input about the presence of terrorists in the area. Talking to AI News, Inspector General of Police Srinagar, Vijay Kumar said,
पुलिस को खबर मिली थी कि जैश माहौल के 2 लोकल टेररिस्ट छिपे हुए हैं। पुलिस आर्मी सीआरपी मिलकर कॉर्डन डाला। कॉर्डन डालते ही फायरिंग शुरू हो गई क्योंकि अंधेरा हो गया था और टेररिस्ट 2-3 हाउसेज को शिफ्ट किया था। तो रात में ऑपरेशन को रोक दिए। सारे सिविलियन के विकेट के आज मॉर्निंग फिर से फायरिंग शुरू हुआ। तो जैश माहौल के 2 टेररिस्ट मारे गए। इसमें साकिब एक लोकल है, दूसरा आबिद है। ये दोनों हमारे पुलिस वाले जो कांस्टेबल रियाज साहब थे, उसको 13 मई को अटैक करके उसको मार दिया था।
In Andhra Pradesh, 7 people were killed and 20 injured in a road accident in Palnadu district late last night. Police said the accident took place in Rentachintala village of Palnadu district when a minivan collided with a parked truck. 38 passengers were returning to the hometown from Srisailam in the minivan. The driver seemed to have dozed off and lost control, resulting in the mishap. The injured were immediately shifted to Gurzala Government Hospital in Narasa Raupet. The condition of 12 patients is said to be serious.
President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu have greeted the people of Goa on their Statehood Day. In a tweet, Mr. Kovind said Goa has a rich, eclectic culture that is a matter of pride for all Indians. The President conveyed best wishes for the continued progress and prosperity of Goa. Greeting the people of Goa on their Statehood Day, the Vice President said, Goa has contributed greatly to our national development. He hoped that the state will scale new heights of development in the times to come. Goa was liberated from the Portuguese on the 19th of December 1961. A grand ceremony was arranged today at Raj Bhavan in Donapaula. Governor P.S. Sridharan Pillai, Chief Minister Dr. Pramod Sawant, Union Minister Shripad Nayak were among the dignitaries present on the occasion. The Governor greeted Goans and congratulated the government for developments achieved by the state.
Over 193 crore 31 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said over 2,28,000 doses were administered yesterday. The recovery rate is currently at 98.74%. 2,070 people recovered in the last 24 hours. 2,706 new cases were recorded during the same period. India's active case load currently stands at 17,698. 25 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. Two newly elected members of Rajya Sabha, Anil Prasad Hegre and Ravichandran Vaddiraju, today took oath. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu administered oath to them in Parliament House today. JDU leader Mr. Hegre has been elected from Bihar, while TRS leader Mr. Vaddiraju from Telangana.
The BJP has announced the names of its 18 candidates for the upcoming elections to the Rajya Sabha. Union Minister and senior BJP leader Nirmala Sitharaman will be the party candidate from Karnataka, while Union Minister Piyush Goyal will contest from Maharashtra. The 18 candidates include 6 from Uttar Pradesh, 3 from Maharashtra, 1 each from Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand and Haryana, and 2 each from Karnataka and Bihar. The Congress Party also announced its candidates for the upcoming Rajya Sabha election. Rescuers in Nepal have so far recovered 14 bodies from the crash site of the small plane carrying 22 people. The search is underway for the remaining passengers. The wreckage of the plane, operated by Nepali carrier Tara Air, was recovered in Mustang district in northern Nepal. The passenger plane was on a 20-minute flight when it lost contact with air traffic control 5 minutes before it was due to land. According to reports, 4 Indians, 2 Germans and 16 Nepalese were on board the crashed plane. Search operations were hampered by bad weather and mountainous terrain and could only resume in the morning today.
And now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
The Hindi Journalism Day or Hindi Patrakarita Divas is celebrated every year on 30th of May in India to mark the beginning of journalism in Hindi language. On this date, in 1826, the first Hindi language newspaper of India, Udant Martand, was published from Calcutta by Pandit Jugal Kishore Shukla. Though, due to financial problems, the newspaper couldn't publish for long, the paper provided an impetus to the vernacular press, helping nationalist sentiment reach every corner of the country.
Andher Nagari Chaupat Raja.
The First War of Indian Independence in 1857 brought out new political consciousness against the brutal tyranny of the British colonists. Bhartendu Harishchandra was inspired to promote social, economical and academic reforms in the Hindi regions. In 1868, he motivated the Hindi writers by publishing Kavi Vachan Sudha from Kashi. Through the magazine, he brought mass consciousness and advocated for gender equality. He dreamed of India's self-rule and her complete sovereignty.
The Bhartendu age in Hindi literature and journalism is deemed to be a golden era and marks not only awareness among the Hindi-speaking people, but also the sharp reaction against the British repression. Mahavir Prasad Dwivedi took charge of editorship of Saraswati in 1903, and the third stage of Hindi Renaissance began. During this time, social, political and economical problems were mirrored in poetry, while songs emoted a theme of social arousal. In 1907, the weekly Sahitya was brought out by Madan Mohan Malviya from Prayag, and in the same year, Hind Kesari was started from Nagpur by Madhav Rao Sapre. Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi launched a flamboyant and revolutionary weekly, Pratap, in 1910 from Kanpur, which was the voice of the nationalist youths.
Another significant journalistic contribution to Hindi is appearance of Prabha in 1913, first published from Khandwa by Kaluram Gangrade and Makhanlal Chaturvedi, and later in 1919 began to come out from Vidyarthi's Pratap Press of Kanpur. Prabha was a dedicated newspaper to the freedom struggle.
मातृभूमि परे शीश छड़ाने जिस पर जावे वीर अनेक.
Chand was a significant journal allied with Prabha and Pratap. Chand sowed the seed of nationalism against the English colonial rule and played a pivotal role during freedom movement.
In 1920, Shiv Prasad Gupta started Aaj from Kashi to help the cause of the freedom struggle. On the 19th of August 1921, Gandhiji launched the Hindi version of Navjivan. Acharya Shiv Pujan Sahai began with the editing of the monthly journal Adarsh in 1922.
Publication of Hindi weekly Matwala started on 26th August 1923 from Kolkata, to which eminent Hindi literati like Suryakant Tripathi Nirala, Mahadev Prasad Seth, Shiv Pujan Sahai, Bechan Sharma Ugr and Navjadik Lal Srivastav were attached. In 1928, it was again from Kolkata, Banwari Das Chaturvedi began to edit the monthly Vishal Bharat. In 1933, Gandhiji started Harijan Sevak, which was the vehicle of his crusade against untouchability and poverty.
Premchand began to publish Hans in 1930. He illustrated the odds and oddities of the British rule to the Indian people. In September 1936, in the last issue of Hans of his lifetime, a brilliant essay, Mahajani Sabhyata, was published, which is the testimony of Premchand's sharpening revolutionary consciousness.
Hindi journalism has been the backbone of the freedom struggle through formation and propagation of the nationalist ideology.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In the French Open tennis tournament, India's Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop will take on Britain Lloyd Glasspool and Finland's Harry Heliovara in the men's doubles quarterfinal today. The match will start at 7:15 p.m. Indian Standard Time.
Summer months are when most students decide their university plans, and those planning to go abroad look at visa options. Lots of parents and students have misconceptions about a US visa. AIR News brings an exclusive in conversation with US Embassy Visa Chief Don Heflin and Education Attaché Anthony Miranda to clear the doubts on the US university admission and visa process. Anthony Miranda, the countrywide Cultural and Educational Affairs Counselor, said it is the right time for Indian students to pursue their higher education in the United States.
We're really encouraging Indian students to consider the United States for higher education. Actually, there's no better time to do that. Universities are hungry and excited to welcome Indian students to their campuses. We recognize that Indian students contribute so much to the atmosphere, the academic rigor, and it makes American universities better. So we're excited to have them.
You can listen to the complete interview in our special program at 9:30 p.m. on FM Gold channel today. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government completes 8 years today, rededicated to service, good governance and welfare of the poor. All BJP ministers of the centre and states and its elected representatives take part in a massive public outreach campaign to mark the day. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says 8 years of Modi government's foreign policy has people at its centre. Prime Minister assures full support for education of children who lost their parents due to COVID-19, releases benefits under PM Cares for Children scheme. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu embarks on a 3-nation tour to Gabon, Senegal and Qatar. 2 terrorists killed in an encounter at Gundipura village of Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir. And in French Open tennis, Rohan Bopanna and his Dutch partner Matwé Middelkoop to play men's doubles quarterfinal this evening. And with that, we end the midday news.